Welcome to episode 2. We made it to episode 2. That's not bad. This is episode 2 of Smart Chats. I'm Thomas Crowley, VP of Product and Strategy for Smart. And I'm joined here again with Tom, our fearless brand president, and of course Brett with our VP of Engineering. Super excited to take a little step back. And something that we got some feedback on our last podcast was to take a little step back. We kind of got really excited talking about who we are, what we do, what we're passionate about, and people were like, "Wait, who's Smart?" So like, we now know you, but who is Smart? So Tom, you want to kind of take us away and talk a little bit about where we came from, our vision, and like kind of like the thoughts there?
Absolutely. First of all, so happy to be here. This is episode 2 of many.
Yep.
Smart's near and dear to me. I spent a lot of my history in the smart home industry, both security, smart home, solar, any kind of a direct selling thing. But smart really stuck with me. And I worked with an innovation company for, I would say probably 10 or 11 years and did some really, really crazy things. And so that's kind of like what's in my blood. Like, I'm a little bit older for this Web3 environment, but I think I can bring something to it.
Right.
But there's a lot of different opportunities there. We're going to get to this, but like with smart and smart home and solar and all these different things that we've done in the past, we learned a lot about a lot of things. One thing we learned a lot about is data, and that's something I'm really, really excited about, and I want to talk about a little bit today.
Yeah. Brett, kind of, what's you? I mean, what about you? I mean, like something that's interesting in being on Smart is just even what is Smart? Like not even just like the company, but also like the word. Like, how do you like articulate what is Smart and what does that look like, or what does that really mean? Well, I guess for us and thinking about who we are and what we do, what are you?
Well,
excited
let me interject.
about?
The reason why we named this company Smart is because no one ever accused me of being smart before, so now they have to call me smart, right?
I'm the president of smartness.
At least that's my rationale.
Yeah, sure.
What's yours?
A little bit of hubris there.
I'm here for the Thursday lunches.
Thursday lunches,
That's smart.
I'm here for.
Yeah.
That's smart, right?
Hey,
There you go.
Yeah, breakfast on Tuesday, lunch on Thursday.
Waters.
I got waters.
Smart waters.
Yeah.
That's really why I'm here. It is hard to articulate smart and what we do, especially when we say the word data.
Yeah, it's like it's so big,
data.
so ethereal.
My wife's like, "What data?" I watch lots of movies. Is that the data?
Yeah.
Like, is that what you're talking about? Streaming on my cell phone data? Is that what it is?
Yep.
And I tried to explain it a little bit, as best I know, which isn't very good either. But no, it's the data about you.
Yeah.
It's the data surrounding you, not necessarily the movie that you're streaming, but about you that we're focused on. And that's what's cool about Smart to me.
What about like from your perspective, like the sovereignty of data and the ownership of data, and maybe tell everybody a little bit more about like what's driving us behind why data?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It really to me it comes down to really just kind of like who we are and like everything we have access to. Like, because as we learn more and more, like there's that famous, probably overused phrase that I'm going to use again, which is data is the new digital oil of our digital age or whatever. Words are hard, but and that's just a thing. But as you looked around, of like there's GDPR coming out, there's all sorts of things, all sorts of regulations trying to make it easier. There's all these cookies out there that say yes, I accept, because sometimes you're forced to accept. Sometimes you can go in and select which ones you don't want to, but there's always performance cookies that you must always accept. And it just really brought to me that question of like, well, who gets that right? Like, what does that actually look like? Is there any transparency going on in the data world and the use of that data? And something that was exciting to me as we started to learn more about blockchain and really get into it is blockchain fundamentally gets down onto the accounting layer of things and really gets into the ability to provide that transparency. There's this interesting, the concept of transparent ledgers is not necessarily new, and that's all that blockchain really is. And I'm going to monologue here for a second, but I love, we're used to it. Yeah, sweet. But I just, accounting is like any business for all time has always had to have some level of accounting. I sold you this bag of sugar, and you gave me this for 1 bag of wheat or 2 bags of wheat. But an interesting problem that started emerging in history was if I made you a promise that, okay, I'm going to give you this service and then you're going to pay me back in 100 days. Well, then I might give you that service and I fulfill on it today, but then the delivery of payment doesn't come till later. And so I might come back to you I've fulfilled my service. I now come to you and say, hey, Tom, pay up. And you might have changed your record conveniently and dropped it by 50%.
Right.
And so, and then I'm like, then it's my word against yours. And then we have to go into a court of law and have that argument. And so
I would never shortchange you.
Oh, of course. Yeah, sure. Yeah. but that's like, and then the Renaissance era, like people started solving that and they'd say, okay, let's have a third party. So let's say, okay, we have this transaction, Brett witnesses it, and we have this transaction between us, Brett witnesses it, but the still problem emerged where you could go pay off Brett and say, hey, I owe Thomas $100. I only want to pay him $50. If you change the records, I'll give you $25. We each save $25. So both of you have made $25. And so that's a problem that has existed for all time until blockchain came out with a third method to say, okay, rather than just Brett being the third party verifying, how about everybody or anybody who's participating as what we call a validator is participating in that and is validating that transaction. That's a really novel technology. And so when you say your data and the ownership of your data, you can actually prove on blockchain that it's yours. And I think that's really cool.
That is really cool.
I think one of the challenges that we faced early is what data.
Yeah, that's a huge
Where do
we
we
wrestled
focus? It's a
Do you remember all the
gigantic-
pictures that I put you to sleep with?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, your dreams were
Still a
solid.
little
In that, yeah, we designed design after
So
design,
many.
building economies and
It's
thinking
bad
about
when
the
we can see
flow.
your pictures when our eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they just keep
Well,
running
that
through
is
my
the
head.
secret to marketing. That is inception to the T.
Then you're really good at it.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look up whiteboard photos in my photos, yeah, it's embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
Wow. It's a lot of ink.
Yeah.
A lot of Thomas handwriting.
A lot
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
So much.
All these random notes. Yeah. Yeah. People think I live a really boring life. I don't post much on Instagram because my picture roll is all whiteboards. It's not cool.
That is not cool.
No, that's funny though. But hey, going back to your point though, with just data in general, what is data? What's important to your point, Brett? With my experience, we'll get into this in a little while.
Yeah.
But there's just data in general, and then there's something called PII, which is it's personal identifiable information, and then there's SII, sensitive information. Mm-hmm. It's how do you control that? How do you store that? How do you protect that? We'll get into some platform stuff later and pen testing and what the blockchain can offer. But data is just a huge subject. We're just actually getting started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was interesting in thinking about that and thinking about the types of data and all those ridiculous whiteboarding that we did, I think what was really interesting for us is we thought about the different parts of businesses. Mm-hmm. What we saw flow through the system was just data at the end of the day.
Yep.
And so for us, that's where we started to say, okay, well, what kind of data are we familiar with? And Tom, you've done a lot with data in your career. So would you mind telling us a couple of stories or about things you did? We'll pull up our rugs and get in time for story time. But what your previous companies you did so much.
Yeah. So this is why it's near and dear to me. We were able to actually do something with data. People talk about data. It's a big common word, topic, subject, whatever. But my role at my former company was to be the senior vice president of business development. And there was many different things that we focused on and we did really, really well with. But data to me was just mystifying. It's okay, we have all these customers out there and we have our own platform and we own everything from cradle to grave, from an installation, sales, installation, service, platform, apps, data, all this stuff. And it's how do you monetize that? I had no idea. But I finally sat on it and said, hey, the only way we would actually monetize this is if it was in the best interest of the customer. How do I save the customer money or make it easier on their life, but yet still let it be accretive to the company?
Yeah.
And so at that time, we were collecting about 2.2 billion points of data a day. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
That
I
is
can't even
a
imagine
lot.
that number.
It's crazy. And there's stories I can tell. And actually, I might sidebar and tell you one right now.
Yeah.
There was so much data there, and it made me understand how much we knew about our customers to their benefit. Mm-hmm. 1 year we sent out, and I think I've talked about this before, but we sent out 50,000 push notifications to our customers saying, hey, it's the most traveled time in the country, of the year in this country. And if you happen to be traveling, you may want to like turn down your thermostat and lock your doors and set your alarm. And like within 2 hours, 50% of people actually made a call to action and did it.
That is amazing.
And it's like, holy crap. Like, I understand occupancy, vacancy. I understand if you're at work. I understand if you're on vacation. I understand if you're home.
Yeah.
Like, that's super valuable. And so that's one quick sidebar story. But what it allowed me to do is go to some of the biggest claims providers in the world. We said, hey, look, our customers behave so well. We take care of our homes. We protect it from fire, from water. We understand these occupancy models. There's got to be something here. And so we spent about a year and a half with the largest claims provider in the country. And after going through all the data with the data scientists and what have you, we came to realize that our customers were 45% less likely to have a claim. That's a big deal.
That's a really big
And so
deal.
I'm like, okay, hey, data monetization, that's accretive to the company. It saves the customer money. Maybe I could do a partnership with an insurance company. And as I learned more and more, I said, well, we want more of the pie. We want more of the pie. We want more of the pie. And so there were proof points as we went. And so finally we got to the point where, we stood up our own MGA, managing general agency, that allowed us to actually write our own product based on our customers' behavior.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. And like, just to do that was kind of cool.
Yeah, sure.
And if there was any other benefit to it other than being cool,
Again, the hubris.
that's exactly like, hey, we'll take it. But it turned out that like in the biggest area of the country where we had most concentration, we were able to save our customers just shy of $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a lot of money, but it pays for the entire smart home and all the conveniences, their lights, their locks, their thermostats, their security, their blinds, all of this automation, it pays for it and then some. So like that was my first shot at data. I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking to these data scientists. I got all these people in from MIT and Cambridge or whatever. Yeah. And right. And so that was a great first beginning for me.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, that's 2.2 billion points of data a day through one company.
Yeah.
Like what other data is out there? And I know you could talk a little bit about like how much data is processed in a 24-hour period for any given person with the iPhone. I think you should probably talk about that.
Yeah. No, well, to jump on that, like we did some research to just kind of understand like the flow of data. And what we learned is basically an iPhone 14,
right?
Like the top line model, it's 156 gigabytes or something like that.
Probably 256.
256, yeah, 256. It was 256. But each one of us individually fills up a 256 gigabyte iPhone every 21 hours, or at least the equivalent of that amount of data. So that is just flowing data.
That's the point.
And it's just all the time, everywhere, never stops, and just energizing.
I think the ability that you had to visualize these messages going out and then action being taken is incredible. Mm-hmm. And then offer something to the customer. It's so taboo right now to say we have customer data.
Yeah.
Like it makes me like want to like hide a little bit.
Yeah.
But you turned it around for their benefit.
For sure.
So their whole smart home now is paid for because of this data. There's power in that. How do we go through and protect it? How do we make sure that it's not being used for ill gain?
I mean, that's a great point. Like with our customers, with my former employer, one of the benefits of us collecting all this data, well, the biggest benefit was for them.
Yeah.
Now they know everything they need to know at any given time about what's going on in their home, right? And the story I was telling before, like they didn't know why we were sending that push notification at the time that we were sending it, but it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
It's the most travel time in the United States of that time, at any time of the year, actually. And so for us to do that and get that kind of response, like they're seeing the rewards of us doing things with their data.
Yeah.
We're letting them know, hey, you're gone. Your home shouldn't be heating at 78 degrees or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The door should be
Is that
locked.
really how high you keep your house? Like
only in the winter. I'm not a Utah guy.
Yeah.
But no, like it's like, hey, did you lock your door? Did you set your alarm?
Yeah,
Are you away? Like, do you need help? Can we help you in any way?
Yeah.
So it was always with their.
That's cool.
They understood.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who actually got to reap the benefits of that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a couple of themes that you could take out of it, and themes that you've really helped lead to be core and center to the ethos of Smart is number one, user is first.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is
Always.
in their story, it's their story, it's their house, it's their data. Mm-hmm. Whatever happens surrounds them. And then second, is how do we empower people with their data to make better and smarter daily decisions? And those are like two kind of like, I guess, catchphrases that have become core and central to who we are. And that's something we're really excited about. And so I think, but before I jump into it, Brett, is like, let's talk a little bit about Smart Now and
Okay.
like talk about how, okay, so we've taken this ethereal data, we've actually started to focus, okay, we understand as we flowed through different systems and things that we're experienced with, whether it's smart home technology or solar or sales or just life in general, Wi-Fi, all that. We tracked that data, and then we started sinking into, okay, how can we focus a little bit more? How can we put our blinders on and not just try to boil the ocean, but get a little bit sharper?
Yeah.
And we've decided to go after the sales industry first of how do these devices get into our house? But would you mind just sharing a little bit about Compass and some things that we're building there,
Sure.
and like how it connects to all of this ethereal?
Well, to your point, we had to get specific because we keep saying data, data, data. Tom, you got specific down to where you could provide value to end user. How do we do that with what we have, with the technology and the connections that we have? We decided to go after sales organizations and show them how they're performing based on aggregation of their data. Yeah. We're not worried about how they sell or what they sell. We don't. There's a whole pipelines for that. How their leads come in, that's for other systems. We're building on top of those systems, gathering that data to help incentivize their employees essentially, or even deeper than employees down to the homeowners. We're trying to incentivize good behavior through this data and through showing dashboards and scorecards. We got very specific to sales organizations.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, and I'm really excited about it. As we've gone out and talked with customers, a common story that we hear is that a lot of customers that we've talked to and experienced and like explored this with, a lot of them talk about how they, in their daily life of business, they use 10 to 20 different platforms.
For sure.
And each have their own individual data streams. And so they're trying to run their businesses, and they use spreadsheets to cobble everything together to like get some semblance of the whole picture rather than just feeling the trunk of the elephant or the leg of the elephant. They need to try to get the whole picture. And it's kludgy, but it works. And there's some people who are incredible at it. Like I'm floored every time I talk to them how well they run their business, and they found creative ways to solve the problems of data aggregation or just running their business. And it's not hard. It is hard stuff, but it is very impressive. And what I'm really excited about with Compass is saying, I see what you're doing, and saying, okay, how do I do it faster, easier, and better for you to help you continue to understand the elephant and be able to move forward with it. And that's just really exciting.
No doubt. And so I would say the last 30, 35 years of my career, I've been dealing with direct sellers, regardless of the industry. And so it's always been a problem. Like you could solve a lot of things with technology. Technology costs money. It takes like scoping. I mean, you guys understand technology better than I do. But at the end of the day, like you were just talking about how great a job they do because they're matching up spreadsheets. There's still human error. There's time. Like it's
not
just,
efficient.
It's not efficient at all.
Sure.
And so to be able to solve that problem, like I've introduced you guys to a lot of direct sellers. And we've heard great stories about what we think we could solve for them with regard to their problems. But my question to them is like, okay, if I give you back 80% of your time or 90% of your time, how much more effective can you be, and how much more money can you make, and how much better can your company be? And then it's just like, well, you see, like they sit there and they just look at the mock-ups we're doing. They're like, that is incredible. I'm like, okay, they have never done this before, guys. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So like to me, that's super exciting because I know that problems exist and I know that we can solve it.
Yeah, talking to one of these reps, they said that's this person's job, what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm paying a guy $100,000 a year.
Yeah, to do that job.
Yeah, right.
So the question is, what else can that person do if that part of that job's being done for them?
Yeah.
The efficiencies they gain in their organization is huge.
Well, I think, I mean, so like a big question there that immediately pops to head is like, well, are we getting rid of jobs?
Yeah.
Right. And that's always like the fear of like AI and technology always, right? Is like, how are we displacing people's livelihoods? But I think what's really interesting, and that same person, because he helped her, and that person, like he came and offered her some technology that made her world more simple.
Yeah.
And then she was so excited about it. She was like, I hate doing this stuff. This
Yeah.
data entry stuff, this matching all these spreadsheets together. It sucks, and it's really boring and menial. And so she was really excited to get rid of a part of it, but it still defines a lot of her workload. But I think that just goes to show is like, as we can liberate people from doing the minutia of the boring stuff and really give things that are exciting or drives the most value, then that is awesome. And I felt that with even here at Smart, we have an amazing team when we all talk about things. We're like all the things on our plates, and sometimes we're like, hey, I like this part. I like the broccoli, and you're like, I hate the broccoli. Like you take it, and so we start doing that. And we trade, and we kind of self-organize into that. And technology allows us, and the skill sets of the people allow us to do that. I think that's super, super exciting.
Well, I think our team is amazing, and I think we're incredibly nimble. But I want to go back and be a little salesy.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So worried about jobs.
Yeah.
Well, I can only hire so many people because there's only so many hours a day that I have to go figure out how many sales you made, how many doors you knocked, whatever we're monitoring for you.
Yeah.
If I can automate that, I could double the amount of jobs that I'm able to provide. So I agree. The person who's doing those spreadsheets rather, we could probably use that person in another role that's more productive.
And they likely will enjoy it more too.
And enjoy it more.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And while doing that, solving that problem allows us now to say, hey, we could double our capacity because everything's automated.
Yeah, sure.
So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk for a second. We're starting to run up on time a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk for a second about why blockchain. So blockchain, again, we've already went on my monologue about that it's distributed ledger technology and built to track it. But why does anybody care? And like, why is it different? What's unique about it? And so I guess, I don't know, either of you, who wants to go first on it? But
How about it?
Okay, how about it? All right.
You've been nominated.
Yes, I know.
Good luck.
Been blessed with this.
I like to do this to him.
Oh yeah, it's a good time.
I know.
We
Put me on this chair.
sit back and
don't
watch.
do well speaking like this.
You do fantastic. Don't give me that. Throwing some humble pie in here.
Yeah. So why blockchain? It's. I think we've been hitting on it all day without saying it, and it's data, and it's transparency. So the person who is running this sales game, they have power to change the game.
Yep.
They can manipulate it. They can say, well, actually, Thomas only did 4 sales and I got 6 or whatever, because they're at the source of the data. Blockchain prevents that. Prevents that any kind of messing with the transactions that happen.
Transparent, it's clean, it's immutable is the huge jargon
That's
we
right.
use all the
Yeah,
time.
immutable. It may not be very super clean,
Sure,
but
of course,
but
like
it's transparent.
garbage
You
in,
can
garbage
see
out.
what happened.
Yeah.
So if I do in fact change the results, you can see it.
Yep.
And to me, that's one of the big benefits of blockchain, and also taking advantage of the rewards of blockchain, the tokens that are part of the process. We're going to use that to reward sales guys for their best behavior.
Sure.
And so it's 2-factor, I think, blockchain. One is the transparency of the data, that things can't be changed. And the secondary thing is it also has these tokens.
It's
that we
this
can give as
economic incentive to shape. Because
That's right.
I don't know about you guys, but I like those carrots. I like
Yeah,
be able to have
everyone
those carrots.
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody enjoys the stick, but those carrots though. I
Yeah.
mean, I am way happy to perform whatever when there's those carrots in place.
So I have a couple thoughts on this, if
Yeah.
I may. So being in the industry of security for much of my life, and then also in platform security and understanding things like SOC 2, which is just something I had to learn in my last job, to make sure that our platform was doing the things it needed to be doing, and all the pen testing. But the security that the blockchain actually provides is kind of amazing. Like transparency, as you talk about. But at the end of the day, it's like it's de-risking your data, your company, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And so that's pretty interesting to me. The other thing, and Brett, you just touched on this, is, coming up in a direct seller like environment, like I'm paying you to do a certain job, and my expectations are for you to do, I don't know, just for argument's sake, 10 sales a week. And that's a big producer.
Yeah.
But if you don't do 10 sales a week, I'm not going to pay you what I said I would pay you for 10.
Yeah.
But here's the reality. If you're doing 6, I'm going to pay you the same because I don't want you to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole introduction of rewards is a whole new currency and a whole new revenue stream. That's passive.
Yeah.
It's not requiring you to go hire people, to go knock a door, call somebody, do any of the other methods that you would normally do for sales. Like, you don't have to worry about an install. You don't have to worry about service. You don't have to do any of these things. You have a passive way of running nodes to build rewards on an enterprise level that allows you to bring in additional currency, or in our infancy, rewards, right? But ultimately, hopefully, currency that says, hey, now this is new money to the company, or alternative ways to pay your people in the company. Like, that has been, and you guys know, because we had quite a few people in the room, being able to show companies that we can do this, that has really kind of floored them.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to make the next meal, and we're trying to show them how to like change their business model completely. So that's been awesome. Like, these meetings when these people come in and they have no idea what we're talking about, and they leave and they're skipping. Like, it's just been fun.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so validating to feel that excitement, to see that, to people see the opportunity. I think we talked a little bit about last time, but I love it when you're presenting to somebody and they start selling your product back to you.
Yes.
Like all the things you can do, like, oh, this just opens the beginning. And that's really what excites me about blockchain is we're using a fundamental technology that sets a foundation that really opens up the door to many things by putting the user firmly at the center of the story, and by helping them get ownership of that data, that resource that they have. Then we can start to shape their worlds, and we can start building out different tools and layers of tools to really go build out some amazing things. And that's what we're really excited about.
It's funny, you hit on something that makes me laugh. Like, every time we have these meetings with these people, and a lot of these are my relationships, and their people are on the call because they manage this stuff.
Yep.
And so after the call, after they do what you say they do, I get a phone call from the owner, and they're like, all right, how much more is that going to cost me? I'm like, sounds like you guys really, really need it. So the demand is going up. I said, but no, we'll make sure we're fair.
Yeah,
But
we'll
it's true.
balance it,
It's true. Like, they do call me. They're like, oh my God. Like, okay, we can't buy yet. I'm like, okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, you're like, it's okay. Well, so let's do a couple of things before we jump into rabbit holes and hot takes.
Yep.
Just a couple of things on Compass to tie up and just kind of put a bow on it. We're getting some really exciting interest, which is so exciting to us. We're grateful to the people who've agreed to be part of our alpha, which is this test where we have a closed room. We say, okay, we're going to test it with these people. That way we can embarrass ourselves on front of a small stage before we go try to pull off Broadway. And all of that. And so how does somebody get involved? Like, how does somebody come participate in helping us dream a little bit or figure out these things, both in terms of the macro sense of getting involved with on the smart level, or even broader still with the community level with IQ, and then specifically Compass? Maybe we walk through each one of those.
Well, I could start, like, first of all, I think the best way to get involved is to buy a node and be a community member, right? Because then your voice is as loud as mine or yours, right? That's just the way it works. That's why we're doing this. And so there's a lot to be for us to learn from those people who live in that environment every day. So that'd be like the first thing. The second thing is like the feedback that we would get from a Compass, talking to so many other platforms out there, and how we would integrate and what the value proposition is. That feedback from these people that we're doing just kind of on our own would be huge as well. Like, I expect to go to like the Direct Sellers Association and just talk to anybody who will listen to me, whether it be DirecTV people, Dish people, solar people, security, smart home, whatever, right? And just say, hey, look, what kind of value would this bring to you, and what are we missing? And so, like, how can you get involved? Well, let's figure that out. Like, we have a lot of incentives that you guys have built that are amazing to get people into blockchain and crypto, and more importantly, the stuff that Smart is focused on with IQ. So those are the ways you can get involved really, really quickly. The other thing is like, I think my number's published in a lot of the smart home security magazines. Just give me a call. Like, love to hear you. So
LinkedIn,
anything.
Reach out, ask these questions.
And we're actually doing a really good job trying to get out there on social, specifically LinkedIn for me, but like all social. So, collaborate with us.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, they know what we need to build more than we do.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. How about you? What are some thoughts on how to get involved?
Yeah, I think if you're interested in the blockchain stuff, definitely go to Discord. We post a lot of stuff out there for Compass as well. If you're a solar dealer, pest control dealer, if you do any kind of direct sales whatsoever, reach out on any of those. LinkedIn's whatever. We're happy to hear from them, hear from you, whoever they are.
Yeah,
Wherever-
all of
wherever
you.
they
Yeah.
are.
Hey, we're
and
willing to
get it-
present to any of you.
Yeah, we'll have a
get you
one-on-one chat
involved.
any day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like lunches. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
There we go.
sandwiches are good. Food is good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll buy them lunch if
Oh
they
yeah,
come.
yeah. That's
Like,
true.
like, come.
You're way more. You're
Yeah.
way less cheap than I am. Just kidding. I'll buy you lunch.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
There's a hot dog place down the road.
Yeah, that's true. Don't tell them my secrets. Come on.
But even, I mean, anybody who has a sales organization, we'd love to talk to them and understand how they're running their business, and especially how scorecarding at a high level for their employees and crypto could play a part of it.
Yeah.
Play a part in it. Help us form the future of this, of Compass.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to add one thing because I think I may have painted ourselves into a corner. This is not just
Oh, not
direct
again.
sales, right? Like this works in any sales platform, right? If you're doing an SEO campaign, a pay-per-click campaign, if you're doing digital marketing, if you're doing any kind of sales at all, this tool will benefit you.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're clear
No,
about
that's
that.
that's a good
Very
catch.
good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good
good catch.
good important. We're agnostic to really what it is.
Exactly.
We're excited about it.
Yep.
A thought from me on how to get involved, and shameless plug, for the past, I guess we're on week 11. We've been running what we've nicknamed Operation Cupid.
Yeah.
Because there's
call.
this the IQ community is getting ready to start distribution of the IQ reward, which is super exciting because that's like the first moment where these rewards that we've talked about really start coming into being. And the IQ community sets all those terms, and Smart can help people get involved by either by buying a node and participating in actions set by the community, or participating in secondary distribution actions like with Compass and participating there. But we've called this Operation Cupid, which has been a 12-week marketing plan that we said of really trying to get our voice out there. And we need help. It's been amazing to watch the followers start to come up and start to get traction. But if people are interested, like, spread the word. If you have a friend who is in sales or is marginally interested in blockchain, like, come reach out. Like, we love sharing our story. We love trying to get engaged, because I think all of us have kind of said it today. We don't know everything, and we're just hungry to learn.
Can you describe a little bit more about Operation Cupid? What is
Yeah.
it? How does it work?
Yeah, that's fair. So Operation Cupid is every week we have a theme, and we say, okay, like this week is like, what is a node, or what is blockchain, or what is Compass, and we theme it, and then we segment it based off of some groups of customers, people who care a lot about blockchain, people who care a lot about sales, people who are techies, people who care about the mission, our central ethos, which is all about putting people at the center of the story, of their data story. And then we say, okay, based off of the theme of the week, let's plan some different posts. And we post across LinkedIn and X and Discord and Telegram. Anywhere that we can have platform, we try to get out that message. And so we're posting anywhere between 3 to 9 times a week, depending on the week.
That's a lot.
And so we're really trying to push the metal too.
Well, the other thing is, like, we're all aligned on this, but like, there's a small portion of the population who understands the business that we're in. When I say business we're in, I'm talking about blockchain, the crypto world, whatever. And so what we're doing is we're paying a lot of attention to, hey, how to simplify this. And a lot of these posts are out there for that. Like, what is blockchain?
Yeah.
What is a node? Like, why do this? How does it work? Like, we're trying to expand our reach because we're a company in our infancy, trying to build a community.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you can tell me how to get in front of like 100,000 people who are in communities, I'll pay you a lot of money for that.
Yeah,
But in the meantime, we're
that's a
trying to
job
make our
application
mark.
out there, yeah.
But if you do happen to watch this and you are connected,
Yeah.
like, reach out to us, because I think there's ways for us to incentivize you to like help us grow and help us learn. Like, we are, I think, unique. Maybe not a unicorn, but unique in the fact that, hey,
We're not a unicorn yet. We're headed that direction.
we're heading that
Yeah,
way,
that's
right?
that's the
but
goal.
it's no different. Like, when we work together and we sit in a room, we're like, hey, we figure this out. What's our reward? Same thing for anybody who's willing to help. Like, we're willing to do anything to make this grow. This is a big passion for us, and, get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, cool. Well, we're now up to the rabbit holes and hot takes.
Okay.
So let's dive into it. Who wants to go first? Who wants to?
He always has to go first.
Yeah,
He
I
always
gotta
has to go first. Yeah,
I
you
gotta
know,
go first. Okay,
age-
so
Age before beauty, right?
Yes. 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 Wow.
that one got me. Okay, so my hot take is I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but they're building heaters now with computers in them.
I have heard about this. This is
the
crazy.
computers aren't to necessarily monitor how hot the room is. They have that too, but this is a device that's also running in the heater or whatever devices. This is interesting to me because we're always trying to figure out how to get nodes in the home. How do we get nodes on solar panels? How do we get nodes in
smart home panels?
What's the twisty thing? We turn up the heat.
It used to be called a thermostat.
Thanks,
The one you
thermostat.
twist.
Yeah.
They don't twist them anymore.
They don't twist anymore.
No, you guys are both really old.
So how do we get
I mean, I know
nodes
your
in-
house isn't older than you, so you should know this.
I should know it. Thermostat. That's the word I was looking for. How do we get nodes in the thermostat? And I just saw commercially. This is not the first time. It's been done lots, but they put these computers in heaters, which is I thought kind of genius because you can run your cool your computer and also heat your house at the same time.
Yeah.
So, that was
No,
kinda
it's
cool.
I had a buddy who bootlegged that, where he
Nice.
he lived up in Idaho, and he was really big into Bitcoin and really big into mining, and so he built a rack in his garage, and if he ever needed to melt the ice on his driveway, he would just open up the garage door and the heat radiating out of the
I
garage.
think I've heard you tell this story
It
before.
was just so bad. And so it's just crazy, but it's really cool to see like that real world application of like,
That's
hey,
right.
this is something meaningful. How can we actually like use it and in a meaningful way? Like how can we maybe reduce our carbon impact and also get a double dip of still having that benefit of a warm house, but also rewards from it too.
And how do you participate in this node network that we're building for the blockchain? That's another way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Our nodes aren't that heavy in terms of like they won't heat your house.
Yeah.
But
your house, but
yeah. But no, that is an awesome rabbit hole to go down. What about you, Tom? What's a
I'm
hot
actually
take
gonna,
or
I'm going
rabbit
to double down on his actually.
hole? Okay.
Oh,
I had an interesting dinner last week with a lot of people who come from the smart home and solar and security industry. And we're always talking about like, hey, you're in people's homes providing incredible value, right? And that comes with product and installation. You know, the fact that we have what we have today that has, grown quite a bit and doesn't have the same kind of like power draw or whatever. Like all these devices that are going to homes, you mentioned a thermostat. Well, there's panels, there's peripheral devices, like there's routers. There's all these different things that like I walked away from that dinner and I went and met with one of the larger, actually maybe top 2, 3 largest provider of smart home services in the country last Friday afternoon. And I'd actually mentioned it to him. I'm like, hey, how amazing would it be if we can actually, in a very simple way, put a node, if you will, and each device that you put in the home. And when I said that to him at first, he was like, sounds expensive. I'm like, oh, let me back it up. It's not every device. It only needs to be in one. Right? And he was like, well, we should talk more about that because that would be amazing. Going to your whole heater story. And like with the path that we're going down with the different type of companies that we're working with and knowing and understanding the equipment that's going in there and knowing what the economic upside potentially could be is really, really interesting to me. Like that distribution model, like we're talking to getting out to countless people with that model. Now, how we actually build that model so it's accretive to both the selling company, the buying company, the manufacturing company, we got to figure that out. But this is exactly the conversation I had last Thursday evening.
Yeah, that's awesome. As far as I don't have a hot take this time. I wasn't feeling very confrontational, I guess. But I know it's rare. But my rabbit hole is just thinking about kind of the macro realm of where we're at this year with being a halving year in Bitcoin, and there's lots of momentum. And we're excited to really get going as Smart in this window of this big exciting time. And of course, there's going to be the hype cycle. Every time there's a wave of these come out, and there's more companies come flood into the market, and there's that ramp up of ideas, and then you get into there's the trough of disillusionment, and then real things pull out according to the Gardner life cycle, right? And so we're really interested to like really see that, and it's been fun for me, especially as we got invited to join this innovation hub called 1871, based out of Chicago. We got invited. We wrote up our application about Compass and the things that we're working on and our vision, ethos, all that, and we got accepted. And it's been a blast to sit down with 35 other Web3 companies and learn about what they're doing. How are they trying to take blockchain and apply it in a real world sense?
I think that's amazing. I think you've done a wonderful job doing that. And the content like I'm invited to all of it.
Yeah.
So the content, to me, it's overwhelming because I don't know, what did I get, 23 invites today?
It's something like that. Yeah. It was amazing.
It's
yeah.
a lot, but it's actually really, really cool that we're able to do that so early in where we are today with Smart.
Yeah.
So that is exciting. The other thing is like, hey, like we are in such a great position. Like this is a halving year and we're ready to take off. Like we launched our blockchain IQ, or we helped launch the blockchain IQ on October 18th. And we have a product in alpha already.
Yeah.
Like that's incredibly rare.
Yeah.
Coming into a halving year, like I just think we're positioned really, really well.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
That's awesome. Good. Well, cool. Well, this brings us up on the end of our podcast. Really, thank you for those who made it. This has been a little bit longer of a podcast than usual, but really great to really sit down and really ponder the question of like, who is Smart? What are we doing? Again, reach out if you have any questions. We're really excited to share our story. A couple of things that we're looking forward to. Stay tuned in the Discord as the community talks and starts getting involved. There's proposals that have come out. There's many more out there. We don't govern the IQ community or the blockchain or the reward. We're just a community member like everybody else out there. Everybody has a voice as a node operator and really gets to choose to give that voice. So stay tuned for that. Please reach out. We're going to be posting part of Operation Cupid. We're going to be posting a post that says, what are your ideas? What do you want us to talk about? I think our next topic for next time is going deeper into blockchain and node technology and really thinking about that. So excited to get into that and to have some fun. So,
When are we planning on doing the next podcast? Do you know?
Next couple of weeks, we want to get something out.
I'd love to get something out before like we start distribution and talk about the opportunity there as well. So we should remember to do that. Yeah. I think it'd be a huge opportunity for a lot of people who are interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Well, cool. Well, then stay tuned and be excited. We're excited to have you guys here and have a great day.
Thank you.
Good.